You see this band of horses is kind of laying here sunning itself. And that's the stallion standing looking at us, and his name is Big Red. Horses are sentient beings. They have feelings, they have emotions, and for somebody to be able to look into those eyes and shoot these horses, it's to me unimaginable. I would say there's about 450 horses here. And, you know, the history of the horses goes back to the Spanish conquistadores, and especially Father Kino. Father Kino raised Spanish Mustangs. And what he would do as he traveled through the country, he would drop off about 20 head of horses and cattle, and with the expectation that the bands or the herds would grow over time so that when they came back through, they had cattle and they had horses. And so the horses have been here a very long time. I've been a horse crazy person all my life. I've loved horses all my life. And when I found out that there were wild horses in the Sitgreaves National Forest, I just, you know, wanted to come out here and see them and enjoy their beauty. I know of 40 horses that have been shot and killed, and those are the ones that have been found. And my passion is you know, trying to find the horses, to identify them, and make sure to find them soon enough that an investigation can be done. Okay, yeah, what we're looking at here is one of the graves where at least one of the horses was buried. And you can see, looking down in there, this is where, you know, carnivores, predators dug down in there to get to the carcasses. I was in military intelligence, so I was gathering intelligence against foreign adversaries. And so that type of work taught me how to connect the dots. When I arrive at a scene of a horse shooting, the first thing I do is I want to get good photos and video of the horses that have been shot. I want to try to find out if I can see at that point where they were shot. I certainly want to look around the scene to see if there's any horses that might still be alive and injured and suffering. But I look for shell casings. I look for any footprints. I look for vehicle tracks. And to secure the scene, it's just standing by until law enforcement arrives to make sure that nobody else comes by and tampers with the scene or runs over shell casings. The dislike for these horses is really rooted in a grass war, because the ranchers are able to graze cattle on our public lands for $1.35 per cow-calf pair per month. And for every horse that's out here, that's one less cow-calf pair that they can graze on our public lands, and that's money out of their pockets.
Well, I'm Nelson Shirley, and I operate Black Canyon Cattle Company. Well, this ranch is about 234,000 acres, and it consists of about 150,000 acres of Forest Service leased land. Right now, because of the drought over the last 5 years, we're down to about 680 head of cattle. Well, from a standpoint of having a viable ranch economically, you have to keep the land in a healthy condition, and plants can only regrow if they have enough leaf mass on top of the ground, if they're not grazed off continually. The problem with the feral horse population is it's sitting there on the forest year-round. So, for example, we're permitted for 900 head of cattle on that almost 150,000 acres of forest for 5 months, whereas these 500 or 600 horses are sitting on about 75,000 acres, and they're there year-round. So it's like 4 times the density, 4 times the impact of our cattle effectively.
The acreage is vast here, And there's no evidence of damage being caused by the horses. There's no evidence of overpopulation of these horses.
I personally like horses. I don't like the idea of horses just being randomly shot. I think the problem is that some of the advocates of wild horses are not recognizing the idea that you can't have an expanding, uncontrolled population.
You know, the plan currently calls for leaving 50 to 104 horses on this vast acreage. Well, that's not a genetically viable herd, and the plan does not take into any consideration the protection of these horses, and especially in light of all the shootings, you would think that that would be one of their top priorities, is to come up with a way that they can protect these horses. My hope is that at some point somebody will come forward and provide the tip that's needed for law enforcement to actually make an arrest. These are brutal crimes that need to be stopped.